my first case, Lincoln West. Now, this is a kid who, at the age of 8-ish, sought out orthodontic care. And then I saw him post-orthodontic care because he was having issues. So I saw him, let's say, around the age 11, 12. Now, when I saw him, he was already having the headache issues, the inability to get quality sleep. He wasn't doing well in school. He couldn't concentrate, not doing good on tests, and things like that. So when I saw him for a consult, we pulled the records from the previous ortho that he went through. And the pictures that you see on your screen now are the pictures of age 8. This is when the previous orthodontist saw him and took on the case.
We went to our orthodontist referral, and we had done some initial preliminary things, and then he said it's time to take out 4 bicuspids. He doesn't have enough room in his mouth. And at the time I was doing dental assisting, and that's all I had known. And so I went ahead and proceeded with the recommendation and had the four bicuspids extracted. And then after that, he started having issues sleeping. He had a hard time going to sleep. He had a hard time staying asleep. He was snoring. He was just having a lot of issues. And I thought once we got braces on and everything closed back together, it would be fine. And then I started working for Dr. Sitteram, and he said that is not going to be good for him down the road. And
in my mind, here's what I'm kind of walking through. The picture of his face on the right, when I see that picture, I'm thinking, hey, this is a guy that needs chiropractic work because he has had postural issues. I know the guy has trouble keeping his lips together because there's already mentalis strain. You look at his cosmetic line, you look at his Volta norm, his face is already retracted. When I'm looking under his eyes, there's already venous pooling. Now, go to the center picture. Yes, my maxillary laterals are trapped. So, at this point in his life, he has one of 2 pathways: serial extractions or grow the jaws to allow for all the teeth to fit in. Okay. Now, when I'm thinking just by looking at this picture is, hey, this is a kid that needs myofunctional therapy to help with breathing retraining, swallow retraining. He needs chiropractic physical therapy work to mobilize that upper cervical neck. Now, as I'm looking at the pictures, how did this happen on it? Because of the inability to breathe through the nose, and then it causes mouth breathing, then the forward head posture starts happening on him. So we already know mandible's trapped, jaws are already retruded, and in traditional orthodontics, this is a serial extraction case.
It all really started back when I was in 3rd grade, and so I got 4 teeth extracted, and then then I was with another orthodontist and I had a retainer for a few years. I remember having trouble sleeping. I wasn't breathing too well either.
A guy like me, if I would have seen that case at 8 years old, we would have treated in a totally different manner. So now these are pictures of when I got the case at the age of 11, 12-ish. At this point, 4 bis are out. He's got, a lot of issues listed on the screen. So when I saw the consult in taking over the case, we take a look at joints. We're looking at airway. We're looking at sleep studies. We're looking at the size of the cage in which the tongue is housed on it. And I already know the cage is small because the face got retracted even more than it was out of the gate on it. So now you have a normal sized tongue living in a little bit of real estate. We're going to have a problem because where's the tongue going to go? It's going to get into the airway. on it. So what we decided to do on him is, well, there's one point of action here. We have to reopen uh, the extraction spaces and develop the jaws along with chiropractic and physical therapy, because you have to remember, if somebody's been in this forward head posture for many, many years, that becomes their new normal. Yes, it's an abnormal way to be, but for that person, it's kind of their norm. So we got to retrain, re-break that habit and kind of mobilize the plasticized muscles. Now, as we go over that, you know, I set the goal is we want to set the expectations for the parents right out of the gate on it. So, hey, we have a couple options. We have to reopen spaces. Then once we reopen spaces, we have to do, we got to close the spaces with implants, uh, or possibly even dragging the back teeth forward. Now, I also am humble enough to tell the parents that, hey, if mid-treatment, we may even change courses in order to get this case to the finish line.
So you feel like you're doing the right thing for your child and you want them to have a pretty smile and their teeth to all line up. And then when you find out it's not right and that he has all kinds of these issues, you feel terrible as a mother. And again, being an assistant, I feel like it was something, why didn't I know? Why has none of these other dentists said anything? And, every time he has to have something done, new bands put on, and he's obviously uncomfortable and doesn't like it. It just makes you feel terrible. And this could have been avoided if I had maybe done a little research. Or
this is a case where mid-treatment, I changed the course of action a little bit too, and I'll show you. So what I ended up doing is pretty much a CD advancer in a very controlled manner, and we open up space. So as we're opening this up, in the back end, he's going through chiropractic therapy to kind of mobilize the upper cervical neck, along with physical therapy and some body work to kind of really open up the fascia. Now, as we reopen spaces, here's what we're starting to look like. Now, I'm getting Lincoln back. Like, he's getting his life back on track. He's feeling good. In school, he's doing well. He's sleeping well. And he will tell you how much better he's doing. So this guy now, not only is he drinking my Kool-Aid, but innately, he's gaining the confidence in what I'm doing also, right? And that's a great feeling to have. As we reopen the spaces, he's now working with my myofunctional therapist to retrain the tongue. Because you have to remember, that tongue started off in a very retracted state, and then he underwent serial extraction. So the cage got retracted more. So you can just imagine the tonus of the tongue and the swallow pattern. Now, when I take on cases, I measure that with K7 Dynamics. We married that concept with a cone beam CT and jaw motion tracking, so we can kind of visualize how things are functioning on it. Now, as we go through the case, these are pictures of, hey, space is reopened. On the picture on the left, you can see where the tongue tie component of it comes in on it. So mid-treatment, I run into Chris Simmons in Seattle, spend a few days with him, and we when we hang out, we are obviously talking shop. So Chris is like, listen, why don't you try dragging all the back teeth forward instead of putting 4 implants in? He's a young kid. And silly me, I'm like, all right, we're going to do that. So we're going to translate. So I go, Chris Simmons, we're going to translate all these back teeth forward. He's shaking his head. He's like, yeah, I do that all the time. So honestly, I was like, hey, if you can do that, I can do that too on it. So I'm in the probably 70% of the way through treatment of translating all the posterior teeth forward. And what we're doing is making room for third molars to set in place. If they do, great. If they don't, that's not a big deal to me either.
it's gotten a lot better. Like, I used to not be able to run for that long. I just run out of breath really easily. Then I've been able to just, like, run a bit longer and being able to hold up a bit more. And I also ran track last year, so that was a big advantage.